was always said that the Conservatives were the party of business, of the strivers and the risk takers. But you could be forgiven for thinking a few of the proposals they're kicking around pre-next month's budget wouldn't look out of place in a Corbyn manifesto. Talk this week turned to the potential scrapping of entrepreneurs' relief, a reduced rate of capital gains tax which basically allows entrepreneurs to sell their business and pay a rate of just 10% of gains up to £10 million. Faced with criticism from the very entrepreneurs the party is said to represent, Sajid Javid is now looking at what to do with it, from reducing the limit to stopping it altogether for new businesses. But this attitude is wrong. Entrepreneurs are the lifeblood of the economy. They take risks, they pump money in, and they create jobs. The Tories should be looking at ways to incentivise them more, not less.
Well, I got something here to try to explain just what it is. Business owners can qualify for entrepreneurs' relief, under which they can pay just 10% capital gains tax when they sell all or part of the company, compared to the standard capital gains tax rate of 20%. This compares with 40 or 45% if you're a really top-rate taxpayer. I've never understood the capital gains tax used to be paid at the same rate as whatever the rest of your tax was paid at, and I always thought that was perfectly rational. I don't see why necessarily you should pay less tax on money you've earned by investing than you do by working. In fact, I think probably it should be the other way around. I've used entrepreneurs' relief. I mean, the truth is that people will always try to minimise their tax.
Yeah.
That's the natural.
Yeah.
That's natural. But I'm not sure that. I think there's quite a good quote. I think you said it better than probably I can say it, from the former head of the HMRC, Sir Edward Troop, who said the point of entrepreneurs' relief is that it rewards you when you make a lot of money. There are lots of things getting in the way of people becoming great entrepreneurs in this country, but the fear of tax on future gains is not one of them. And that's my point. I don't think anyone starting a business is going to be worried about what they're going to sell it for and how much tax they're going to pay in 5 or 10 years' time.
My concern with this is not about the percentage, it's about the principle. We're in a post-Brexit world, soon to be. We need to be doing everything possible to encourage, and you say, well, what's the difference between regular tax and, say, this tax? I would say risk and reward. If I go for a salaried job,
doesn't it only encourage people to try and flog their companies as soon as they can to the person who's going to pay them much and cash out? I'm with Sir Edward Troop on this.
You're only going to sell out when it's worth.
Hold on, it costs HMRC £2.7 billion a year.
I dispute
which
this.
Is, which is an enormous amount of money.
When you say,
well,
I keep hearing
tax
this.
foregone. Isn't it?
No, because I don't buy this stat. I keep hearing this, oh, it costs the HMRC all this money over these years. That's nonsense. What you're saying is you're assuming if you increase the rate or reduce the threshold, that you're then assuming that you would get the same tax receipts.
I am assuming it.
Yeah, but I think that's a wrong assumption, because what people would do is
they
potentially
don't start a business, so they then think, oh, and I can sell it and I'll only pay 10% on my capital gain if I'm lucky enough to have one.
They might not sit there today and go, I know what I'm going to do in order to get 10% tax, let's set up a business, because that would be a bit silly. But when you're looking at your exit strategy or your pension strategy or whatever it is, absolutely your tax rates pay a
The weird thing is, of course, that entrepreneurs' relief was started by a Labour government.
It was?
And is now going to be stopped or severely reduced by a Conservative government.
Alex?
I think, and I've got a limited amount of knowledge in the corporate and tax world. My kind of concerns as a layperson would be, we're dealing with post-Brexit. We've got a flu virus which is causing a lot of issues. And, there's concerns we might go into a recession. I understand there's quantitative easing going in the economy as well. And we don't want to do anything that's going to kind of rock the boat. That would be my concern.
I genuinely think this is the cherry on top of the cake for an
entrepreneur
who's... Greg, Greg often talks about how our media industry has been sold to the Americans. Presumably this entrepreneurs' tax relief has had some part in playing in that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, certainly in the business I came out of, which was television and television production, I mean, a lot of people started a company, got up to a certain price, and sold it because they could get entrepreneurs.
Exactly. Somebody like James Dyson in his back garden in a shed developing a vacuum cleaner that's gone right round the world. Yeah. As and when he wants to say, why shouldn't he employs so many people? You've got John Caldwell who used to cycle up and down the country selling mobile phones. As and when they want to cash out, why the hell shouldn't they?
No, but
they have employed countless thousands, paid more.
Nick, James Dyson, well, if you say that would be billions, right?
Yeah, but why?
10 million getting a tax relief on 10 million wouldn't help them at all.
No, okay, but why shouldn't these people?
Well, I think what it means is
line.
people who've done started quite small businesses get to a certain size and sell out, and they sell out because they can get this.
Good luck to them.
I think what the government may rightly thinks is that it is making staggeringly rich people get even richer, and the stats on wealth inequality at the moment are really quite staggering. So let's just quickly have a look at them.
Right.
In the wealth of the top 10 richest people rose by 700,000 between 2010 and 2018, whereas the wealth of the poorest 10 people in the UK dropped by £100.
Tenths of people, not 10, yeah.
Poorest tenth of the people dropped by £100 in the same period.
Exactly. So let's look at those people that you're saying they're losing their wealth. I want to get those people, and I want to incentivise them to, if they choose, to create a business, to create wealth. And what I want as a country, I want our attitude and our outlook, especially post-Brexit, to be one of, come here, we are a great place to do business, we are a great place to set up your businesses and invest in your businesses. So I want the principle to be more encouraging of entrepreneurs,
Indeed.
not less.
Look at this figure from the notes. 660,000 new companies registered in the UK every year. That's 70 new businesses being formed each year. You don't want to get in the way. What the bloody hell are the Tories up to?
It's not stopping anybody.
Not getting in their way, because it is. Most of them take their money out to start with through and pay normal taxation. They pay. What I find strange about capital gains tax, as I said earlier, is this idea that because when you work really hard and you earn over 150 grand or whatever it is a year, you're paying 45% tax on taking that money. If you've just invested some money in it, why should you only pay 20% tax and make it? It doesn't seem. And it didn't used to be like that.
It's the risk and the reward.
But what about the fact that you can also sell your equity, your stocks and shares in companies, and only be taxed 10% under the same system? Is that fair? I don't think it is.
Well,
no, there are qualifications though. You have to be a director, or you have to have worked for you have to be an employee.
Anyway, let's look at head of tax at Moore Kingston Smith, Tim Stover. Let's hear what he has to say.
This country needs its risk takers. It needs people to be aspirational, to innovate. We need people to think creatively, to build the future-facing businesses this country must have, to provide good jobs for young people and to deliver a secure tax base. For these things to happen, the support of the tax system is of fundamental importance. It's been claimed that entrepreneurs' relief exists to make the rich staggeringly rich. But the much derided lifetime allowance of 10 million is giving entrepreneurs something to shoot for, something to dream about in the long, lean years. In reality, the average claim is closer to $500,000.
Oh. I agree with Tim.
Only $500,000. Oh,
I know, but you say that. No. These people, to set up a business, you often leave salaried employment.
We don't all wander around bloody North London dinner parties, you know, attending everything appearing in the Evening Standard every night. Some people are out there grafting, setting up businesses, Rachel. That's what you need to learn.
Good on them.
Michelle, well done.
Okay.